Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. If tomorrow is Prince William's Super Bowl, then here's your halftime show. That's the money quote from Omid Scobie, friend of the Sussexes. It's a busy day in royal land, including William and Kate being booed at a basketball game and the fallout from the latest racism scandal. But let's begin with Harry and Meghan. Behind the scenes at Palace Intrigue, we suspected that the Sussexes would do something to try to keep the limelight shining on them. And sure enough, Netflix has released the trailer for the upcoming documentary. Here is a small taste of that trailer that we've edited down to eliminate long stretches of music, although we did leave in the dramatic musical build before Meghan's statement to give you a sense of the trailer's vibe.
No one sees what's happening behind the closed doors. I had to do everything I could to protect my family.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
The trailer shows clips of Harry and Meghan crying, plus rapid-fire pictures of the two individuals growing up. The 6-episode documentary is simply titled Harry and Meghan. The trailer shows the date as coming soon, although the date, December 10th, has been mentioned in the media. ITV's Chris Shipp tweeted, "With Harry's brother and sister-in-law in the USA today and tomorrow, and Prince William's at Earthshot Prize in Boston on Friday night, some might reasonably ask, couldn't they have waited a couple of days? Well, Chris, this became the lead story, not what William is trying to do, so there's your answer." Piers Morgan tweeted, "Imagine bleating about privacy, then doing a kiss-and-tell reality series about your private lives. Then imagine preaching compassion as you trash your family again. Then imagine releasing the first trailer deliberately to ruin your brother's big trip to America. Repulsive hypocrites." Meghan was also seen attending a Power of Women charity event in Indianapolis, which did not get the amount of pickup it normally would, given that there are at least 3 other major royal stories today. Air travellers were surprised to see William and Kate on their British Airways flight to Boston. Passenger Joe Atkins said, "You assumed that they'd have a private jet. He's a lot slimmer than you'd expect." "Can I say that? Very slight," said Atkins. "The first clue was that we were told phones off right away, which you don't usually have to do." One crew member described the couple as utterly delightful. Passengers said the royal couple were down-to-earth and approachable, talking to some of their fellow passengers in first class about why they were in Boston and their role with the Earthshot Prize. Once they landed, William and Kate's day started with getting lectured about racism and then getting booed at the Boston Celtics game. If you're not up to speed on the latest controversy, Lady Susan Hussey, who is also William's godmother, was forced to resign over comments to a black woman that have rocked the monarchy. Ngozi Fulani, who was born in the UK and runs a black women's domestic abuse charity, said the royal aide asked her, "Where do you come from?" In a conversation that followed, Hussey continued to ask, "What nationality are you? Where do your people come from? And what part of Africa are you from?" Ngozi told the Mirror, "What she did was racism. Through and through, it was prolonged racism. The fact that it was just done in the open in front of people on a day when we should be working towards violence against women." Ngozi also said Hussey told her, "I can see I'm going to have a challenge getting you to say where you're from. When did you first come here?" Ngozi says she then corrected the aristocrat by responding with, "No, I am of African heritage, Caribbean descent, and British nationality." Several hours later, William and Kate attended a civic event in Boston with Pastor Reverend Mariama White Hammond speaking. She urged the crowd to consider the legacy of colonialism and racism when dealing with environmental issues. In the evening, Will and Kate were courtside at the Celtics game. Richard Palmer of the Daily Express tweeted, "Make no mistake, William and Kate got a mixed reception from Boston Celtic fans tonight. There was booing, chants of USA, USA, and also plenty of cheering the second time, but it looked more like a display of Boston sports fans' reputation for rowdiness than anything else." 2 Celtic fans heard booing told the Mirror, "Yeah, we booed to let you guys know you're in the USFNA. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Camilla Tominey, writing for The Telegraph, "The speed with which Buckingham Palace dealt with Lady Susan Hussey speaks to a ruthless efficiency that has helped the monarchy to endure for more than 1,000 years. One of Britain's leading noblewomen, Lady Hussey, had served the crown since Prince Andrew's birth in 1960 and received the Elizabeth II version of the royal household Long and Faithful Service Medal with 30, 40, 50 and 60-year bars. The timing could not have been worse, having overshadowed both the Queen's consort worthy initiative to honour those campaigning against domestic abuse and violence against women and William and Kate's 3-day trip to Boston. Some may argue that as a long-standing lady-in-waiting and respected woman of her generation, not to mention one of Elizabeth II's closest confidants, Lady Hussey has earned the right to be treated with a degree of dignity. Lady Hussey didn't become Queen Elizabeth's #1 head girl without developing an acute understanding of how the monarchy works. Once you've become a hindrance rather than a help, you have no choice but to jump before you're pushed. In the Daily Mail, Richard Kay wrote about Lady Hussey. When they were together, there was always a lot of laughter. It was a jolly, infectious humour, often wry but never cruel, and based on shared experiences going back decades. And no one spanned the Queen's life quite like her lady-in-waiting, Lady Susan Hussey. The Earl's daughter, who arrived at Buckingham Palace as a 21-year-old to help with the royal post bag after the birth of Prince Andrew, was still there more than 60 uncomplaining years later, accompanying the Queen to Prince Philip's funeral and, after Her Majesty's death, leading members of her personal staff to the lying in state at Westminster Hall. Unflappable, loyal, and discreet, it was inevitable that Lady Susan, a godmother to Prince William, would be among the handful of the late monarch's most trusted staff invited to serve the new Queen consort, Camilla. Her resignation triggered a heated debate about what many described to me yesterday as the unjust treatment of an 83-year-old widow who devoted her life to the royals, with some accusing King Charles' aides of acting with indecent haste in announcing her departure. As one veteran courtier said, where is their duty of care and compassion towards a much-loved member of staff who has led an exemplary life of service and dedication to the monarchy? The speed with which this has taken place just does not damage Lady Susan's reputation, but that of the institution as well. Shouldn't there have been some kind of calm, considered investigation? Instead, it looks like the reaction has been driven by social media. Royal insiders suggest the urgency was partly motivated by the arrival of the Prince and Princess of Wales in the US city of Boston and fear that the fallout from the race row incident would overshadow their visit. Certainly, Prince William's spokesman was unequivocal. Racism has no place in our society, he said. The comments were unacceptable, and it is right that the individual has stepped aside with immediate effect. But a former close aide to the Queen told me, no question, Lady Susan has been thrown under a bus, and it is a massive overaction. Tomorrow will be another busy royal day as the Earthshot Prize winners are announced, also known as William's Super Bowl, with a glitzy show headlined by Billie Eilish and Annie Lennox, and William and Kate meeting President Biden. Boston University professor Ariane Chernock, an expert in modern British history, said, I think this is less about saving the earth and more about saving the royal family. To be honest, we've seen Charles as king in his first months in that position trying to find his way towards being a more relevant, more modern monarch, and I think we see something similar happening with William and Kate. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.